Hi, my name is Damien and this is Ask Damien. And for those of you who are new to my channel, new to watching videos, I'm a medium, a shaman, or a shaman, and I'm a spiritual teacher. I give readings or reading coachings privately, and I also occasionally lead seminars. Today I'm going to start with, though, rather than reading anything specifically about a person or even a question, I'm going to start with the spiritual weather report. So what's it like out there? What's the energy on the planet? Well, if you're someone who's tuned in a spiritual way, you've probably heard that there's a lot of energy flowing, and for quite some time now. But there are different flows of energy. The main flow right now is all about cleaning things up, sorting things out, and getting creative. But what about that feeling of I can't, or I hope I can, but I'm not sure? One of the key words that we want to be not necessarily using, but looking out for is resistance. So resistance is when I want to avoid looking at something, when I want to avoid something happening, when I want to avoid meeting someone or talking to someone, or when I want to avoid feeling a particular way or thinking particular thoughts. So it's completely fine to kind of monitor your thoughts. I don't mean control your thoughts, but kind of observe your thoughts and to check, is that the kind of thought I want to be thinking? Positive thinking is fine, but it's not everything. Resistance is all about letting go. Now, one of my favorite mediums once said, or the being that she channeled, for those of you who know about channeling, said the following: it's a little bit like holding a cork underwater and then letting go of it. And if the cork was you, your soul, your life, your presence, the cork bobs up to the top of the water and gets carried by the flow of the water. For example, if you're in a stream or a river, it's carried by the flow, or even if it's on a lake, maybe you're more of a calm lake type of person, that the wind comes up a little bit and blows that cork and carries it. So we let the water carry us, the water of life, you could call it, whatever you want, carry us in the right direction. And I'll tell you, swimming upstream, always effortful. It takes a lot of effort. And what if the water is kind of cold up there on top of everything else? I don't know about you, but I don't really like cold water too much. So here's the point. We want to begin to practice letting go. Practice letting go. So how do I do that? It's when I feel that I'm not letting go. And that could be at any time. Maybe at work or at home or even at night just before I go to bed. Take a few moments and just breathe. Yes, the energy on the planet right now also has a calm streak to it, or a calming streak, and will support you in just breathing. Breathing, good for everything. It calms the mind, calms the body, helps lower your blood pressure, or at least even it out. Breathing is wonderful, and it's so natural. And you don't have to do something special. You don't have to breathe in a particular way. There are many methods for breathing, but right now it's enough to just breathe. So on that note, I'm going to breathe my way to our question for today. So here's our question. And today's question is from a client of mine who lives close to that big lake in the south of Germany called the Lake of Constance. Her question is, how do I get a relationship with this man? Let's call him George. How do I get a relationship with George? So I read her energy, and this is what I saw. She had a strong infatuation, a strong pull towards this man. So I asked her a couple of more questions. I said, well, what does he tell you? And here's what came. He's in a relationship himself. It's a long-term relationship. He loves the person he's with. He intends to stay with the person he's with. And that although he likes my client, it's going to be staying with just friends. Well, there's a long story behind this, But the long and the short of it is, or the answer to her question is, you can probably have this person as a friend. It looks like he is friendly towards you when I look in the energy. But you need to sort of tame or even let go of your strong desire to be with him romantically. It's not going to happen. At least not anytime soon or right now. So things can change, of course, over time. But for right now, a sort of healthy and strong and self-loving way of approaching this relationship is to have it be a friendship and to look elsewhere for a romantic interest or a romantic liaison or a romantic relationship. So sometimes we human beings get very, very attached to a picture that we have in ourselves of someone, but that someone doesn't behave in a way that matches the picture. And this is exactly what happened to my client close to the Lake of Constance. This man did not respond to her approaches, her inquiries, her desires. So she wound up having, over the course of several years, several phone calls, and that was it. Very disappointing for her. Sometimes it's time to practice letting go. And remember that we're the most important person to ourselves. I told her that it's important for her to probably meditate a little bit. I mean, just go inside of herself, feel what she feels, and then practice opening up to other possibilities. I don't mean directly other men, although eventually opening up would probably lead to men showing up in her life, or a man. But actually just being open to her loving herself just the way she is, herself, even on her own, without having that other person around. And I've mentioned this before, practice makes perfect. In German, the translation is, practice makes you a master. I kind of like both expressions, although who knows what perfect means. And mastery, you can only define for yourself. So, with that said, this client has had to practice quite a bit. And I'd really like to underline one more time the word patience or loving patience, as well as the word self-love, because these go hand in hand in our own personal growth and lead to true happiness, and even more importantly, interestingly enough, true satisfaction. So today's tip for life is, how do I become a master? Or, how do I master something? For example, something creative. Or how do I master some practice? For example, maybe it's an Asian martial arts thing that I'm doing at some studio. Or maybe it's mastering writing, or mastering speaking, or mastering some tool that I'm using at work or that I want to use at work. Or maybe it's just something as simple but as all-encompassing as mastering communication. Or mastering love, or loving, or being loving. Mastery comes through talent? Sometimes. But untrained talent isn't particularly useful in the world. Well, how do I train my talent? How do I train anything that I want to master? By practicing. Practice, practice, practice. Now, a lot of us are thinking to ourselves when we hear this, oh, I'm so tired of practicing. Well, look and see if what you're practicing is really sort of reaping benefits for you. You may want to try something else. I tried yoga for a long time, and I discovered, after a long time, that Qigong was better for me, just worked better for me. I enjoy it more than I enjoy yoga. By the way, yoga is wonderful. I'm all for it. And for me, Qigong is a little bit more effective, feels a little bit better to me. So I like Qigong. In any case, the more I practice Qigong, the better I become at the movements. So whatever it is you want to become good at, Well, practice makes perfect. Practice leads to mastery. And mastery is a state of true centeredness and true satisfaction. This is your spiritual green light.